It's being blocked or something. What the hell? Oh. Hello, Necessary. I have no idea what's going on. What the hell? I'm sorry, folks. I have no idea what's going on. The show got shut down. It wasn't me. It should be connected. It should. I've been going for about 10 minutes. I didn't even know it was shut down. Come on, Bubba. Come here, Bubba. Oh, man. Hello, Ivona. Oh, give me a second, man. This is ridiculous. There's nothing wrong here. Now it says I have an excellent connection. Everything should be great. All good now. There's a lot of static. I have a good connection here, but YouTube is really... Oh, man. And it's not me. It's very unstable. Give me a second. Okay, so you're telling me the connection is fine now? Alright. I don't know, somebody shut it down. It was a complete shutdown. I didn't do it. Everything's good here. Now this is really, really confusing me. Hold on. I feel like I'm under attack or something. What the hell? Alright, so I guess I'm going to have to go all the way back to where I was earlier. God, it's so frustrating. It's not my fault. I'm not doing anything wrong. Okay. Maybe it's something to do with internet overload or YouTube overload or algorithm punishment or who knows what. It's impossible to tell at this very moment. What the hell is going on? Oh, I'm so sorry. It's smoothing out now, Tia. No worries. YouTube glitch smooth now. Thank you very much. I've completely lost track. I'm going to have to, more or less, in my brain, I have to go back to the beginning. But no, I'm not going to do that. I just wanted to say, Ivona, I'm sorry about your loss. Necessary, thank you for keeping me informed. Tina, I got it. And I've got your magic post-it notes. So let's go back over here. So I'm going to have to put all this away again. Okay, say it's fine over there. All right. So here's the Astrodoodle for today. It's very similar to what it was yesterday and the day before. It's going to be very similar till tomorrow. This is very slow, 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 slow. Slow, fairly slow. Fast, fairly fast, fast. So there's two big deals going on here as far as I'm concerned. We've talked about it multiple times before. This is the south node, north node axis. It's under extreme stress for the whole of planet Earth. I think of it in terms of relationships, all the way up to relationships between America and China. It's like a disgusting, nasty, dirty marriage that's going through an extended divorce. It's very difficult to do the divorce because both parties are deeply entwined with each other financially. It's exactly the same dynamics of very wealthy entities who have become bitter enemies, but they continue to smile and pretend everything's okay, and in the background they're issuing really nasty, dirty threats to each other because both sides want to dominate over the other. So it's extremely dysfunctional. It's a very classic example of this swamp, south node, black hole, drain of futility and lost and wasted energy of dysfunction. And it's being amplified by Pluto in a very hard square. Of course, what needs to happen is both sides need to shut the bleep up, take care of their own business, mind their own business, sort out their own dirt in their own economies, their own worlds, and their own people, and forget about each other. Accept the losses. Cut your losses and run. Run as fast as possible. The thing is that the people and the institutions that are deeply invested financially are very unwilling and reluctant to cut their losses because they're so deep in bed with each other. But a lot of it is dirty money. Dirty money from here, tapping into the slave camps over here. Dirty money from here, infesting and infecting. What am I doing? A double sound? How's that happening? Oh no, hold on. What's happening? Why is that? Hold on. Give me a second here. I gotta... No, that should be working. Why is the other mic? You're saying there's another... That doesn't make any sense. I've got a really high quality condenser mic that I use for broadcasting. And when I use that one, it turns off, well, theoretically, it should turn off the computer microphone and the camera microphones. So I don't use them. Jeepers, man. Oh, man. I'm sorry about the double sound. I don't know how to fix that. Let me look over here for a second. No, that's good. That's a good microphone. And it's the sole source of sound. So I don't know why. Turn off my other sound? I don't have another microphone. Oh, God. It feels like interference to me. I don't know. Anyway. So I had to do some work with a client the other day, wrestling with a very, very similar situation. But it isn't one country and another country. It's two people. And the healthy person is trapped. Okay, you're hearing it okay. Thank you, Tina. The healthy person is trapped in a deep south node black hole. It's very sad. Thank you, Ivona. And So what do? How do you get out of it? How do people? So I mean, there's one approach is where you cut your losses and run far away as fast as you can, and treat it as a life lesson, a very difficult, bitter, expensive life lesson. It's exactly the same dynamics that's going on between the United States and China. So this affects the whole world. It affects 8 billion people right now. There are billions and billions of people who are drowning in the misery of a dysfunctional relationship between themselves and their so-called governing entities. The governing entities are sick, psychopath perverts who are abusing the population for their benefit at your expense. How do you get out of it? It's extremely hard to do. And the whole of humanity is being challenged. Now, at the same time, we've got this beast here. We've been talking about it for a long time, many weeks now, and it's reaching a kind of a crescendo over here. We had a crescendo on the full moon eclipse, but now we're having a new moon crescendo because it's even more fierce. We've got the sun, the moon, and Mars very tight right here, direct opposition to Uranus in Taurus. Okay? And as I predicted, global financial chaos, upheaval, devastation. And that's exactly what's happening right now. On the global scale, again, we revert back to the United States and China. But we can take it even further. You can say the United States and everywhere else that is not the United States. It's an enormous problem, and there is no immediate solution because it actually can't be fixed by human intention. The only way it's going to fix itself is by its own implosion. It's going to die, it's going to collapse, it's going to implode because there is no other pathway for evolution. So we are seeing it live in a slow motion death spiral. It's happening to the whole world because the whole world is trapped in a debt trap with no escape. America is 33.5 trillion in debt. China is about the same. The rest of the world lives in a state of perpetual debt. The debt originates from here and it's propagated across the rest of the world. America sells its debt. It exports its debt. Right now, okay, so with the sun, Mars, and moon, it's an extremely hostile, violent, vicious opposition. We've got the world of other people's money. In other words, what I was just talking about. The Federal Reserve Bank, the ICBC, the International and Commercial Bank of China, the People's Bank of China, the every other central bank in the world, every major financial institution, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, all the major stocks, bonds, the traders, the banks, the retail banks, they're all in deep trouble, just trying to hold on every day, minute by minute, hour by hour, to scrape through and hope that they can somehow or other mitigate their losses. That's the world of other people's money, where everything is screwed up, where we the people, everywhere else in the world, has mostly been duped into believing that the world of OPM, or other people's money, has your best interests at heart, where in fact all they care about is their own interests at your expense. And the people, we the people, are starting to figure it out. Okay? We figured it out. They're sick of it. Everyone is sick of the global financial system and the evil and the corruption and the rot on which it is based. It's a massive, multi-gazillion, trillion, quadrillion fraud scheme. And it's reaching the end of its life. We're seeing it most vividly in America and China, but especially China. So over here in the world of your money, your wealth, we have your values, the things that you value, the things that are valuable to you, your assets, your gifts, your natural born talents, your money, your hard money, your cash, your gold, your silver, your house, the things that you own outright. Maybe you're lucky enough to own your own house, own your own car, own your own water supply, own your own energy supply, own a lot of food, own a lot of safety and defense and security. All of that is under attack. It's under a vicious attack because the global elites here do not want you to have your own sovereign wealth. They want you to keep putting all your money into their pockets so they can play with it at your expense. That business model is imploding. Thank you, Necessary. Okay, I'll do it. I can't take any more. It looks like I've got 2 lined up already. Hey, Jeffrey, what's up? Tina Miller's got a reading. Someone. I think it was. Hold on, let me have a look. Oh gosh, I gotta do. Give me a moment here, folks, while I figure out what the heck is going on. All right. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. All right. I got this one here. Okie dokie. All right. Okay. I'm gonna move over here. Give me a second. It's probably better, Fluffles, if I don't. I've had to turn off quite a few readings during the week as well. I'm very sorry. Let's do it next time, okay, Fluffles? I've got another one. I've got MM here. Thank you so much. Very kind. Now let's just leave it at that for tonight, okay? Because I'm just not going to last very long. It's better if I admit it up front, otherwise I won't be able to talk or do anything tomorrow. So, let me just get all this stuff out of my system. I feel it's very important for me to share this stuff. I don't really see it anywhere else. I don't really follow any astrology channels, and the bits and pieces that I do stumble on I don't know. I'm sure there's a couple that get it. There's a guy called Sama. I think he's pretty smart. And Lada. I think I heard the other day, I think Love Triber told me, Braca Goldsmith, she has stopped. She's given up her YouTube completely. It's very sad, but that's it. She's had to retire because of restrictions and limitations. Anyway, about this axis here, it's very powerful, very, very violent, unstable, and destabilizing. And that's what we're seeing in the global financial markets. Again, I'm not a financier, I'm not a trader or anything like that, but I pay attention to things on the astrological scale. So this energy represents here you and your money, your sovereign wealth, everything that you hold dear and that you value and that you hold that has real value, okay? That is under intense pressure. It's just like all the volcanoes and earthquakes. It's being shaken up like this. in its own natural entity, simply because Uranus is in Taurus, okay? And it's also under severe attack from Sun, Moon, and Mars, okay, over here. So it's an extremely violent shakeup that's happening in the global financial system right now. We've got the financial warfare going on between the United States of America, and it's just reached a crescendo. Very scary stuff, which is, again, a very telling moment in this very, very slow motion implosion train wreck of the global financial system as it all implodes. There's the United States, and then there's the rest of the world. The rest of the world pivots its financial systems around the United States. The rest of the world is sick of it. So there is a global war going on because of that. It's reached an end point where the staggeringly effective fraud has reached the limit. Now, it's most vivid here in China. I want to just point that out over here. So right now, we've got war. I think of it as World War III. Some people are saying that, some people are not saying it. But it is World War III. And just like World War I, World War II, a lot of it revolves around the global financial status quo. And it's being ripped to shreds. It's ripping itself to shreds. It is a financial war as far as I'm concerned. That is the number one element of this war. It's the most prominent element, but you wouldn't know that because the stuff that everyone sees, of course, is the violence. They've got the very ugly, dirty war over here in the Middle East. And it's spreading all over here. And then you've got the ugly war over here. And it's potentially spreading all over here. Duh. And we've got this ugly war brewing over here. And America is up to its neck in all three of them. Okay? It's really ugly. It's scary and it's beautiful. Because to me, all of it's predictable. So here's an example. In the war between China and America, China-America, I think I described it. I was talking while the channel had crashed. Think of it as a very ugly marriage which involves a huge trillions of dollars. Both are essentially enemies of each other, but they are so deeply entwined, as happens in some marriages where they're deeply attracted to each other and they form these very, very tight bonds. But those bonds were formed in a state of, let's say, willful denial of reality, or I would say some perverse neglect of reality, in order to achieve what both parties believe would be a glorious outcome for both sides, whereas in fact both sides are actually trying to exploit each other. China, 20, 30, 40 years ago, engaged to exploit the debt farm in America. America exploits the slave camps in China. And of course it expands across the world. And it's now become very, very ugly because both sides have shown their true colors and they're ripping each other to shreds. But it's very, very difficult for a lot of places to function without China and for China to function without all the other places. But they're going to figure it out because they have to. So right now, here's an example. Here's just one example. In China, they have the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. It's the biggest bank in the world. It got hacked 2 days ago. Okay? And they have a New York office where they trade very heavily with the United States Treasury auction houses. Okay? So it caused absolute mayhem. You're not going to see it much of anywhere on the news, but it triggered absolute mayhem in the Treasury auction markets, which has a direct impact on the economy of the United States. And it was so extreme that people thought that that was going to trigger the implosion of the global financial crisis. It didn't, but it's an indicator. It's like a tinderbox that almost exploded, okay? Now, at the same time, the U.S. Treasury that's trying to sell its bonds is having an extremely hard time because they've reached the end of credibility. All the other countries are starting to think, well, why on earth would I buy a 30-year bond from America at, 4 or 5% or whatever, when I'm never going to get paid back? People are starting to lose trust in America, obviously. And it's showing in the financial markets, and that's very, very scary. So eventually the Fed, the United States Federal Reserve Bank, is going to pitch in and dump all the debt onto the American citizen. So that's going to create poverty in America through inflation. Okay? It's inevitable. Okay? We won't have anywhere to go. Now, at the same time, China's own economy is imploding, but in a different way. They have 1.4 billion people over there, and the vast bulk of them are in poverty or extreme poverty. I would say about 1 billion people live in what I would call extreme poverty. And there's about 200 million people that have these glossy Chinese exteriors, and that's great for them. And there's a handful of a few million people at the very, very tippity top, just like in America, who have all the money and the power and control. But this place is convulsing right now because their economy is imploding live in real time. And a lot of people in here are trying to get out. But in China, you can't just get a plane and fly out. It's a communist country, and you have to have permission. So it's like a massive prison camp, okay? They're trapped. And their own economy is imploding as well because it's, again, involved in astronomical, irreconcilable debt. The Belt and Road Initiative is collapsing, imploding. China's trying to spread the debt around the world to suck more money in from all these deprived, undeveloped places that get suckered into the debt trap. But it's not working. So what I feel is that we're seeing is supernova. We're actually witnessing a supernova. What is a supernova? Supernova is when a star dies, like the sun. Our sun is eventually going to die. They're estimating about 4 to 5 billion years from now. And then when it dies, it starts to shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink, and then it collapses in on itself with gravity because it has expended so much energy over, 10 billion years, and it shrinks, and then it goes like, it gets tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. Then it goes supernova, and it just splatters itself across the universe, across our galaxy. Our whole solar system will completely collapse and turn to dust, and all that dust will form new stars and new planets, okay? So, China is going supernova right now. It's going supernova because internally it is collapsing and collapsing and collapsing, while externally it's trying to expand itself into this dazzling bright star to take over the world. I see it as going supernova. The end. It's a very similar thing in America, but I don't think it's the end. I think this place will go supernova on itself, like boom, and the gravity of the good side of America will suck it all back in and create a new entity, the United States of America, Part 2. Very crazy, crazy stuff. The other thing that's very scary about the world of money is this ugly war over there in the Middle East. It's extremely ugly, and I think we talked about it last week, where if you dig around, I was informed because I did not know, there are vast amounts of oil reserves right here that are not attributed, allocated, but they are being allocated right now. Essentially, it's going to go to the Western oil moguls, BP, Exxon, and all of that. Because at the moment, all that oil exists right outside Gaza, Palestine, Gaza, basically, and they have legally, technically, the rights to it. But the Israelis and the global financial systems and the oil conglomerates are not going to let that happen. There's vast amounts of oil still here in the Middle East, but they're determined to keep this for the West, okay? So a lot of this is follow the money, honey. Follow the money, honey. So guess who profits out of this war? We already talked about it. It's the big military-industrial complex. McDonnell Douglas, Boeing, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, and General Motors Defense. They benefit in the hundreds of billions because of these wars. Okay? Follow the money, honey. In order to basically set everything up so that the BlackRocks and the BPs and the Exxons can move in and get that oil. Another thing you might have noticed, this is very much centered around Uranus in Taurus at the 24-degree mark, which is under extreme attack right now. Incredible instability, and that is showing up around the world as mind-boggling volcanoes, mind-boggling earthquakes, okay? And the accelerating pole shift. The magnetic pole, where's the North Pole? Okay, so the North Pole on this map would be right here, but the magnetic pole is around over here somewhere. And about 150 years ago, it was here, but now it's moving slowly here, but it's accelerating, and it's now moving over this way. So as the magnetic pole shifts from here to here, it's going to create massive shifts in climate and weather. And that's nothing to do with climate change and the CO2 and the World Economic Forum, United Nations, and all that baloney. It's because of the sun itself, and it's because of the Earth itself, because inside planet Earth, there is a revolving axis here where it spins around, it spins around, it spins around. But when you take out a magnetic compass, it points over, is it either here or here? So you have to adjust that when you're looking at the compass. So every 12,000 years or so, there's a major, enormous pole shift. And it has huge consequences on global climate. And every 6,000 years, there's a semi-pole shift. And that's what we're coming up to right now, because the last pole shift was about 6,000 years ago. So we're heading into some very exciting, unstable times, okay? Another thing about the global financial stuff is that in America, in the next few days, it's scheduled for a government shutdown because of apparently no money. Okay? The next thing about the global financial thing is Mr. Ping and Mr. Biden are meeting this weekend, I believe it is. And it's about slimy begging, as far as I'm concerned. They're both going to be trying to, act like puppets, trying to scam each other into being nice to each other, while one tries to take dominance and power and control over the other, or, however that's going to work out. It's really, really pathetic, because basically Mr. Ping is presiding over a country, an economy that is imploding, at the same time that Mr. Biden is presiding over a country and economy that's imploding. But they're doing it in different ways. China is basically saying, if you do what I tell you to do, we can stop the global financial crisis. And then Biden would be saying, well, if you do what we advise you to do, then we can stop the global financial crisis. Okay? Obviously, mutually exclusive situation. No hope for resolution. Anyway, let's leave it at that. I tell you what. I have to put this aside. I am going to leave you for a few moments because of all these chemicals I've had to take today. It's kind of messing up my body. I am going to take a pee break, if you don't mind. I'm going to have to do it. So I'm going to leave this here for you to digest. And I'll be right back. Give me a second here. So please bear with me. Made it. All right. All right, so let's clean it up here, folks. That's all we're going to do. We got 2 readings booked tonight. That's probably all I can handle. I'd love to do more. I'd love to do, 2 videos a day if I could. Right now, I don't see how I can, but I would love to do that. I'm going to put this aside. I'm going to put this aside. Maybe we can hang out for a little bit after the readings, Even though I might not talk too much, I can certainly, participate a little bit in the chat and be like a moderator for the chat or something, Okay, then I'm going to put that over here. Right. Okay, so this is the ephemeris, and we are here right now, okay? Sunday 12th, okay? Right on the cusp of the new moon. Saturn's direct. We got these heavy retrogrades, okay? I marked it for big money issues. The reason I go on and on about China is because China is feeling it very, very badly right now. The way I interpret my astrology, China has Pisces in the 2nd house. And that is a huge problem for them. And they're in denial. The energy is going to shift. It's going to be quite different. I mean, some of the core themes are going to still be there, but once we get into the Sagittarius energy, it's going to be a whole different vibe. All right, let's go over here. Make sure Bubba's okay. Yeah, they're okay. The boys are okay. All right. Oh, hey, Love Triber. I see you now. Oh, thank you so much. So, Mr. Cusp. Some people think I'm a pretty good astrologer. So, Mr. Cusp, if you're interested, this is from TarotLumination. It's my little gift to the world. It's a little book I wrote called Wealth, Money, Finance, about the global phenomenon of restructuring beginning from January 2020 and how it's going to play out for the next few decades. Especially when Pluto goes into Aquarius. Anyway, you can get this on Amazon if you want. I'll just show you there, just in case. Thank you very much. Oh, goodness. Oh, you have to forgive me. My eyes, my nose, my ears, my throat, they're all kind of screwed up. You know, have you ever noticed, like I don't have a cold. I have allergies. I never had allergies before until recently. They're horrible, horrible, horrible things. It's from the neck upwards. So I'm taking stuff for my throat and my sinuses. And you know, for example, when you catch a cold, everyone here has had a cold. You know, when you catch a cold, like especially when you're a kid, your caregivers often load you up on, you know, those like syrupy things to make you feel better, and it's just a bunch of chemicals that try to make you feel better. They don't really do any healing. Your body still has to do the healing. And I learned quite a long time ago that your body's healing mechanism, especially the phenomenon of a fever, is actually part of the healing process. And I had what amounted to pneumonia during a very hard winter, and my fever went up to like 104, and it stayed there for days. And of course, it's absolutely horrific when you're at that level. And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to trust my body. So I just, I had friends. I was staying with friends and family and so on. And so what I did was I thought, screw this. We're going to do what I learned that the fever is supposed to do. The fever kills the bug. So I wrapped up and wrapped up and wrapped up. I didn't take any medications. I boiled myself alive in extreme pain. And then there was a critical moment where suddenly it went, and within a matter of 4 to 6 hours, the fever disappeared completely. And I went through like a cold sweat and changed, and I became very soft and mellow and gentle, and I was fully healed. It was very weird. Cusp is asking. Hold on, I missed a lot of the chat. Will Pluto going into Aquarius make things better for the world? It depends how you describe better. What I'm predicting is massive upheaval and revolution. Mostly because of ideologies, conflicting ideologies. The most simplistic way to look at it is the Aquarian theme of decentralization. There is no leader. There is no ruler. So you have a natural tendency for humans to want to rule over each other. So you get these classic pyramidal structures of power and money and control, which is right now symbolized by Pluto in Capricorn, 28 degrees. But when we get to Pluto Capricorn 29 degrees again, it's going to become very, very extreme as the elites of the elites and the status quo do everything that they possibly can to maintain their power and their money and control. I made videos about all this. I identified them. I told you who they are. Okay, you can look it up in previous videos. Things like the WEF, the UN, the FED, the WHO, and on the EU, the ECB, the CCP. It goes on and on. These are the people who are nothing to do with us in our lives that have imposed their autocracy, their tyranny, their globalized, sick, perverted tyranny onto everyone else for their benefit at your expense. That is going to be contested. We're going over the cusp now. With Pluto, the cusp takes about 4, 5, maybe 6 years as we oscillate back and forth over the 0 degree point. With the moon, for example, the cusp is a matter of hours. Okay? So, on Earth, we feel it. The Pluto cusp, it feels like an extremely long, slow phenomenon, and people lose track of it because most of us are focused on the day-to-day, the week, maybe the month. That's it. So to understand the cusp of Pluto and Capricorn moving from the 0 point over into Aquarius, it takes years. We're moving over the cusp now. It's going to get much more severe in the near future, in the next few months, when we hit 29 degrees. Then it's going to go to 0. There's going to be absolute chaos when we go into Pluto and Aquarius for good, no retrograding back. We're going to see the energy of revolution. Unbridled, explosive revolution all over the world. Chaos, shake-ups, and everything, okay? And it's going to be between ideologies. There's one dynamic is for like March of the Penguins, where human people are going to demand release from the tyranny of the status quo elites. And we're going to demand that we have our own identity restored and no official leaders. We will have what's called a community. We will have decentralized power. That will be most exemplified in the new global financial system that's coming, especially when Uranus hits Gemini in 2025. It's going to be absolute chaos, okay? Highly unpredictable, but I can guarantee the predictable thing is chaos. So on the one side of the equation, it's going to be community, decentralized community like March of the Penguins, where there's no leader. It's just everyone looks after everybody for the benefit of the population, versus communism, which is a complete totalitarian, tyrannical imposition of power, control, surveillance, stripping you of your identity for their benefit. It's a war, okay? Community versus communism. Freedom versus tyranny. That's the war. In America, we will feel it as freedom versus tyranny. It's happening right now. We're seeing the opening stages of the war of the revolution. We are re-entering the birth of America again. 4th of July, 1776, revisited. We're here now, exactly one Pluto cycle later. It's about 250 years, okay? So there, I hope that helps you understand. Tina's keyboard died. What? Okay. All right, let's get on with Tina's reading. We got to do some readings, okay? I don't like to scare people, but you really have to be prepared because there's a lot of exciting, revolutionary stuff happening in the world. Some of it's just awesome, and some of it is just horrific. But again, that's nature. Volcanoes are spectacularly terrifying and beautiful at the same time. Same thing with earthquakes. I'll put MM over here. Let's have a look at my deck, make sure everything's good. Yeah, we got a good deck. Yeah, it's interesting, cusp, that you asked this, because the energy of the cusp is happening right now. It's going to go on for the next year, okay? The cusp happens every time a planet crosses over from one sign to the next sign at the 0 degree mark. I'll point that out to you exactly here. So, dear cusp, see this tip of my pen right here on that straight line? That is the 0 degree point. 29.99 degrees. Okay? So Pluto is moving from here to here. The book that I wrote covers the time period from here to here. We're still in that time period. Okay? But next year, we're going to be in Pluto and Aquarius for good. And that's going to be a 20-year journey of enormous revolution and upheaval all across the world. Brace yourself. Prepare yourself. Protect yourself. Protect your money. Protect your privacy. Protect yourself. All right, Tina, let's have a look what's going on. Hang in there. Thank you for your patience. It's been a very bumpy show. I'm trying to keep it together here. I'm wearing Birkenstock open sandals with socks. You've crossed over. Oh my God. Hey, dear cusp, we're already in World War III. Ultimately, the core ingredient of World War III is money. It's the global financial system. All the violent wars that you're seeing, like the Ukraine thing, the Middle East thing, the Taiwan thing, Russia, China, those are all symptoms of the global financial system collapsing. We're already in it. World War III began in January 2020, and it's going to drag on for another 10, 15 years. The mainstream isn't going to call it World War III because they don't want to scare you. They just want to keep you oblivious while they do all their machinery and machinations and manipulations behind the scenes for their benefit at your expense. All right, Tina. Oh, Tina, I understand. I'm going to confess something, Tina, since you're doing a confessional right now. I was very happy when I lived on Venice Beach. It was full of freaks, artists, writers, and musicians, actors, movie people. I met a lot of very wealthy, famous people in my time there. And I felt like I was one of them. I didn't have any money. I wasn't famous, but I felt acknowledged and recognized many times. Anyway, here's my confession, Tina. I used to live in baggy shorts, Birkenstock style sandals, but no socks. Tie-dye t-shirts and bandanas. I used to work at a head shop selling salvia divinorum, pipes, paraphernalia. I got fired from that job. Actually, I'm glad. I had lots of other jobs too. But yeah, I fit right in. I loved the feeling of wandering around in my sandals. Eventually I did try socks, but they were very short, like sport socks, not the long ones. But long ones are okay. If you had those big fuzzy woolly looking type of nature socks, that will work with Birkenstocks. You're a very brave woman to confide this. Thank you, Tina. All right. All right, Tina, here we go. What kind of messages do we have for Tina tonight? In Tina World, with her socks and sandals. I think everybody here knows that you've got furry friends, big furry friends that eat a lot of food and make a lot of poop. And you love them, and they love you. Alrighty, here we go. Cards are well shuffled. Alright, we're going to go blind, Tina, if you don't mind. Okay. I have llamas. Oh my God. Okay. Here we go. Let's have a look. I'm going to use my, of course, world famous situational spread. It's the same spread they use when they call me to the White House in the Situation Room. When they have top secret meetings. Doesn't matter who the president is. I'm on call 24/7. Actually, you know what, Tina? I'm going to show you something. This is a real open confession. And if I can find it. If I can find them. All right, here we go, Tina. Look at these. Look at these. These are made out of recycled fiber. How hippy dippy is that? Yeah. I haven't worn them for a while. All right, so we've shuffled, we've cut. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Let's have a look at external influences. 8 of Pentacles. I'm actually happy to see this for you, Tina. It makes me feel like I feel a combination of things. Like, number one, job well done. Investing for the future, and having reason, tangible motivations and reasons for it feels like a renewed energy, and having like meaning, a sense of meaning and value. In other words, like, oh, now I can see a pathway to how and why my gifts and talents have value, have so much value, and I haven't really seen it in the way that I'm starting to see it now. And it's perfectly appropriate for people to change and go through new chapters in life. I call them lifestyle package deals. For sure, Tina, you have been through multiple lifestyle package deals, and you are embarking on a new one where I believe you're going to see the fruits of your efforts. And it does require continuous input, of course, but you're very dynamic and you're almost a workaholic just as much as you're like a compassion junkie. It's kind of a good combination. People are lucky to have you in their lives. So I see this as an ongoing energy. It's worth the investment. It's worth the time and the energy. You're going to be building value. What's the situation itself? I think we had this before in another reading for you, where there is so much that you would love to know right now, but feels like it's inaccessible. It might be that very sort of Neptunian swirl energy, like fog, the mystery, like, oh, what's going on? So in some ways this could be very frustrating, because if you're, let's say, a very, very three-dimensional person and you want to know what's going on with who, what, when, why, where, and how at all times during the day, and you like a good solid connection with physical reality, this can feel very frustrating, because it's just like, why can't I just, manifest the future in real time? Just bam, 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 like that. Why do I have to keep waiting for some kind of mysterious unknown factor to emerge before I can move to the next chapter, the next step in my journey of investing in my own life? Very frustrating. But again, when I see this card, I often think like whatever will be revealed to you will come to you when you need it, when you need to know. And whatever you don't need to know will not be apparent to you. So I'm hoping that you see the High Priestess here as actually being your friend. It's almost like an insurance policy, like a defense mechanism. Like, you're not supposed to know every element and chapter and fact of your life starting from tomorrow or the day after or next week. It's great to have some kind of security and stability and like a plan or a path of how it's going to unfold. But in reality, none of us really know the exact details. We can have like the perfect pie chart. You can have the perfect PDF presentation, the perfect PowerPoint plans and blueprints for your life. And then you wake up in the morning and something happens and it's all blown to shreds. Look what happened to the ICBC Bank. Okay, Tina? The ICBC Bank over here. It got hacked. Okay? It shut down the global financial markets for about a day. It created phenomenal chaos. Nobody knew it was going to happen when it happened, but it did. It was a complete unknown. It was a complete mystery until it manifested and became evident. So I guess it requires patience. What's the challenges here? It makes me feel with the Temperance card. Look, these are big cards, Tina. So there might be the sense of energy of fate. Things are happening above and beyond and outside of your control, where you're like living on a virtual roller coaster or a kind of a journey or a magic carpet ride where you thought you owned your life, where in fact you're literally living your life in the moment. And it might feel a little bit scary or like in direction, like, I thought it was going to go here when in fact it's going there. Oh, now I understand it's going there. And then you suddenly realize, well, wait a minute, now I see it's going over there. What the hell's going on? Okay, you can thank Uranus and Taurus for that, including the massive opposition right now. So, because by the way, Tina, this big fat opposition applies to everybody. It's just a question of where does it lie in your chart. All right? Okay, so I know, Tina, that you know your chart very well, so you can figure some of it out, all right? So with the Temperance here, my feeling is that you know very well that you should be more kind to yourself than you are already. You know very well that you put yourself under a tremendous amount of pressure, and you do it because it's natural to you, You're a very giving soul by nature, which is what allowed you to do these very generous acts throughout your life, working in healthcare and healing, helping friends and family. But it's time for you to heal yourself, prioritize yourself, make yourself number one. But you might feel very guilty about that. Like the Temperance card it's almost like I don't want. It's like I need to do something. Like if you like being really proactive and getting the positive feedback, like money, returns, recognition, a sense of stability in life in this world, that would be natural. But what I'm seeing here is that there's a lot of, I don't know if you call it pressure, but like narrow options, like a very narrow option where you have no choice but to accept reality as it unfolds in real time without any necessary, a lot of a deep pool of clues to let you know what's going to happen next. And one of the most important things is like you need to heal yourself. You need to prioritize yourself so that you can actually be the healer to yourself now and allow the healing power of love to come to you rather than having to be the healer for everybody else. And it's time to strike a balance so that it works out in a very healthy way for you, okay? It's difficult. Like, who was that guy? It's a very old movie. I think it's called The Cider House Rules. Michael Caine plays the role of a doctor who takes care of an abortion clinic, and he devotes his life to helping women in trouble. But in the end, he completely depletes himself. And in this lifetime, Tina, it's not fair on you. It's okay and it's perfectly right and healthy and appropriate for you to heal yourself, even though there might be let's say, it might feel unnatural to you. So how do we go forward under that kind of pressure? Okay, to me it looks really, really, really simple. Dear Tina, do what makes you happy. Prioritize your personal happiness above and beyond anyone else or anyone else's. Okay? It might feel very unnatural to you as someone who's constantly putting out love and energy and healing, especially for others. It's time to heal yourself. Prioritize what's good for you. Like, for example, you just started wearing your sandals and socks. What's next? Maybe it's time to... I don't really know the details. Okay, you're doing the vet tech school. That sounds like a really good investment in you. And you're helping beloved animals. That's a beautiful thing. If you're doing what makes you happy, and you can get out of the horrific workplace politics that you've been dealing with, and channel your energy, your healing energy towards the animals, that can be reciprocal healing for you. In other words, if you get happy by healing and helping to heal animals, imagine the reciprocal joy that is created. Makes you feel better, makes you feel happier, stronger, and I realize, like, now I'm investing in myself by investing in my own happiness. Prioritizing your happiness, okay? Get a bandana. Oh my God, yes. Okay, Tina, here's some tips on bandanas. I'm not going to do it live, but as you know, typically you can wear a bandana where you fold it into a triangle, you lay it over the top of your head so you have a dome, and you tie the little knot at the back. That's one way. But there's also another, like if I had long hair, I was a real hippie dippy. You could also wear a bandana that's rolled up like that, and you put it around your head here, but the top of your head and your hair is all exposed. That's another classic hippie, happy hippie look. you can get a bandana collection. What I noticed, again, in my hippy-dippy days, that when I was wearing these tie-dye shirts, I just felt like I was this radiant, glowing tie-dye person. Like, I didn't have to take any drugs or anything. I looked absolutely like some kind of Venice Beach stoner. I really wasn't. But I loved the feeling. I had my bandana, my tie-dyes. I didn't go so far as jewelry and anything like that, or tattoos. But I had my shorts and I had my sandals. And that's as far as I went. But it felt good. Especially the tie-dyes. I had a couple of different tie-dyes over the years. I even tried making them, but that didn't work. Oh well. Okay, so Tina, I think the message is here is prioritize yourself, heal yourself. Number one, do what makes you happy. Start blessing yourself and showering yourself with little tiny gifts every day. Like, ooh, I'm going to wear that little piece of jewelry that I haven't done for a while. I'm going to try a new bandana. I'm going to try little new experiments to make my aura more like, so like you radiate a healing aura, and then that with the laws of attraction, you attract that back to you. Radiate love, light, and healing. Bingo. It becomes a positive feedback loop. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you, Tina. Let's put this aside over here. Okay, we got to shuffle up for MM, and we're going to do a reading over there. So, bear with me. Here we go. All right. We're going to go totally blind, okay, MM? Let's have a look what this looks like. God. Cards are well shuffled. Oh, by the way, oh, maybe I should mention that. Let me mention that afterwards. Give me a second, Tina. I've got a little. Got a note for you. Actually, let me just share it now before I forget, okay? In case you have to go, okay, Tina? I know you're very busy. So Michael over here, let's have a look. So here's another thing, Tina. I used to have a jewelry business. I never really wore a lot of jewelry. I went through little tiny chapters where I wear little bits and pieces, but I liked the making and the crafting and the selling. And I did okay for a while. And some of the things that I like are sort of hippie-ish. I like some of those certain crystals with gold-colored chains, things like that. I like to make bracelets. I've made some spectacular, beautiful bracelets of all kinds, all sorts of different types, different materials. And I also liked to make pendants. That was about it. And I don't really have anything to show because I made it all, sold it all. I have a stash of materials because I was trying to set up my little business in New Zealand, but it never happened. So it's all sitting in New Zealand right now, but I got enough to make probably a few $1,000s worth of jewelry. I got it all in a nice little box with all the tools and everything. But I'm just saying, you know, like New Mexico and everything, jewelry is a big thing in New Mexico. You know, a lot of the turquoise and silver, all sorts of jewelry. I could easily see you getting all tricked out and changing things every day or so. Like, ooh, I'm going to switch this one out for that one and take that one for that one. All right. Hello, Suman. So just FYI, Suman, I've got one more reading I'm doing tonight right now. You're welcome to hang out with us, but I'm not taking any more bookings because I'm a little bit under the weather. Okay, I'm doing what we can. Welcome, Suman. All right, let's have a look, MM. I remember long ago when we were talking how we're talking about appearances now. You went through a metamorphosis, and you came out as this sort of angelic being. Hey, Suman, while you're here, please type in the screen. Let us know more about yourself, who you are, where you go, how you got here. I like to know where people come from. Sometimes we get people from all over the world. It's a very, very little, very small audience these days, but I've had people from all over the world. So, and I love to find out, like, are you from India, Philippines, Africa, America, Europe? Please let us know. Share as much as you want. By the way, Suman, I'm not the only reader here. There is another reader here called, I believe, Necessary Truth. She does psychic mediumship. And there is another reader here called Love Triber, and she does cartomancy. All of us have different ways of operating. You're from India. I have to tell you, Suman, I had a wonderful, beautiful Indian roommate lady girl. She wanted to marry me, but it wasn't really workable. And I have to say that I loved her cooking. Oh my God. I loved her cooking. I really like Indian food. Back then I could eat almost anything, but I know a lot of Indian food has a lot of cream. and I can't take cream anymore because I can't really take dairy. It's very sad. Of course, there's lots of good Indian food without dairy, but I love some of those sauces and ways of cooking. Just for the record, everybody, since you're talking about veterinary practice and surgery, my sister, I think I've shared with you before, was a super ultra high qualified veterinary surgeon, doctor, consultant, PhD, corporate, blah, 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 and so on. So I'm very familiar with the world of veterinarians. I think I would have loved being a veterinary technician's assistant. I would have loved it. It's very difficult for me to hold what you would call a proper day job anymore. It's very, very difficult. All right, MM, let's have a look here. Cards are nicely shuffled, and we're going to go completely blind. All right. Using my situational spread, it literally acts as a diagnostic tool. It just kind of opens up a portal. Got to reveal it to heal it, you know. Here we go. Let's cut it up. Let's get down to business, folks. All right. So here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle things, and let's have a look at external influences. I almost always default to the astrology, but let's see. So we've got the Three of Cups. Oh, well, isn't that nice? It makes me feel that there must be something in your life, in your world, where there is some kind of element of harmony, resolution, joy, okay? That is available to you. I'm not saying that you own it or have it. The way I feel it here is that it's out there and it is available to you by choice. So I'm looking at, in particular, with the Three of Cups, when I look at this Three of Cups in this card, in this reading, I am looking at relationship dynamics. Some of you who have been here for many years know that when I do relationship readings, I do them in private, okay? And I use what's called my crucible spread. And the crucible spread is custom built by myself on the understanding that in a relationship there's you, there's the other, and there is a third existential entity called the relationship itself, which has its own astrology, okay? There's you and your astrology, the other and their astrology, and the relationship has its own astrology, has its own identity. In a healthy space and room to live as your own, each to their own entity, and the ultimate in love and respect for each other in their own separate entities, which filters through the relationship. So if there's a conversation, for example, both parties would, as a default behavior, give each other like an invisible or unspoken 3-second rule, 10-second rule, or a 24-hour rule where you allow the communications and the dynamic exchanges to assimilate and digest and be understood before a response is given. So there's a huge difference between, let's just say, here's the relationship dynamics. There's a huge difference between action-reaction, and the other one would be response. So like action, consideration, response. Okay? Outcome. The outcome sprouts from the relationship. Action, put that into the relationship, digest it through the lens of the relationship, formulate a response through the relationship, and then you have an outcome. And that is a completely different dynamic, okay? This, with the third party, is the healthy one. It's not easy, but it can be done. So what I see here in the Three of Cups would be potential for harmony between self and other and the relationship itself. There might be a healing involved here where the third entity, the relationship itself, has the potential for healing. Okay? Mr. McCracken. Mr. Michael McCracken. MM. Mr. Michael McCracken. All right. What's the situation? Let's have a look, folks. Okay. So there's definitely a team effort here. When I see that, I love this little card. I see it as team effort, where nobody's better than the other. In fact, I was watching a video the other day that was very much about this dynamic, nothing to do with tarot. I'll tell you. I was watching a video about a castle that is being built from scratch in England as a learning phenomenon to try and understand how people 750, 1,000 years ago built these beautiful castles. And they're taking all this incredible depth of knowledge that they've learned for all the masonry, the woodwork, the cement, the steel and metal tools, and all the natural and all of the ingredients to build a castle that came from a modest surrounding area. So they had to pick from the surrounding area: rocks, stones, trees, clay, mud, whatever it takes to build a castle. And it's teamwork, so they all need each other. So the people who are working out all the designs and the shapes and the turrets and the walls and the moats and the gates and the windows, they can't do any of it without the craftspeople. And the craftspeople don't really know what to do, where to go, without the fundamental designs of the architects. So they need each other. It's a cooperative thing. And both require and demand and deserve respect, mutual respect. Often the architects believe that they are superior in some ways. And maybe so. But they can't manifest what they want to manifest without the artisans. So I see this Three of Pentacles here like a resonating energy with the Three of Cups here, where by making deliberate decisions to filter future actions through the relationship, you might have a situation where participant number one can relate to participant number two through this longer, slower, more considerate process of relationship built on the understanding that both parties are part of the equation and effectively can't proceed without each other working constructively through the relationship to build a better outcome than currently exists. So it requires energy, time, commitment, integrity, okay? Highly measurable ingredients. Okay, material measurable ingredients. So this looks very good to me. It's all based on potential though. I'm not saying this is, it's just what I see as potential. So what are the problems here? Let's have a look. Okay, what I see here with the problem is that it might be that in a relationship dynamic, both parties have a very different expectation of outcome, whatever that might be. And the outcome might be envisaged this way by party A and this way by party B. And that creates contention. And it's only by working through and acknowledging and putting words to the contention or whatever is not working and infusing it with deliberate efforts of putting something wholesome in, like resolution, integrity, manifesting results, whatever it might be, that the benefits can be attained. So with the Judgment card here, it makes me feel like, wouldn't it be amazing if this kind of consensus could be attained? Because it would be liberating. It would be freedom. Freedom for you. Freedom for others. Freedom. Freedom where you can breathe. You can sleep. Breathe properly. Sleep properly. Rest. Resonate in a natural state of harmony. It's possible. It is attainable. But it takes work and commitment to understanding that there's more than the self. Okay? In relationship dynamics, there's the self, there's the other, and there's the relationship itself. So, to have a good outcome, it requires investing into the relationship, the crucible. The crucible itself, that's why I do the reading in that kind of shape. The crucible is an extremely, the crucible is a container that's designed to withstand intense pressure. And that's what can often happen in relationship dynamics. Both parties put their energy into the crucible, a lot of times with certain expectations, certain preconceived expectations of preconceived outcomes, only to find that, wait a minute, that's not working the way I want. And it might be you saying that, it might be the other party saying that. And that becomes a problem, because it's only by consensus, and consensus can only be reached by deliberately throwing yourself into the crucible where things can get very volatile, like a chemical reaction, and and out comes something beautiful, something acceptable, something that creates freedom, liberty, and release from any kind of karmic hangovers. But that's only possible by taking an extremely mature and loving approach to a relationship dynamic. Otherwise, you default to this, which is ultimately a never-ending war. Now, let's have a look. How do we deal with this? Because it sounds easy for me to say it, but simple is not easy. Okay, moving forward. You have to be willing to step into the crucible. You have to be willing to step into the unknown, into dynamics, into an experience, into a phenomenon where you don't have much previous experience. Most people are terrified of the unknown, and they try to contrive their life to fit certain parameters that already exist and that already have an understanding. Okay, but can you see the limitations already? Life is an evolutionary process. Things are always dying in order to be reborn. And looking into the future can be scary. Like, well, okay, TL, thank you for all of that, tarot speak stuff. Thank you so much. But what does that look like? Well, it's kind of scary, because it does mean having to get into the crucible where those scary, unknown, unpredictable, uncontrollable dynamics occur. So imagine, here's another way to look at it. Let's talk about business, okay? There's a reason why there's only very few people at the top of a business. Because at the very top of business, one of the most important and valuable skills is decision making, and the willingness to deal with the outcomes of the decisions, for better or worse. A company might grow, and then the person who grew it, you change and evolve, and you might become a megalomaniac, and your decision making starts to become impaired, and you create the demise and downfall of your own amazing company because you weren't aware that you were evolving simultaneously. So to keep growing, the people, like in your situation, you have to be willing to experience the unknown in all its discomfort and potential disruption and uneasiness in order to get towards what would be an agreed and acceptable resolution that works for both sides. It's just like, wow, it's tricky. But we did this last week or the week before. It was some reading for somebody, I can't remember who, but think of it as the art of the deal. Obviously, you want to win the deal according to your parameters. But the other parties, they might want to win the deal according to their parameters. So the only way you can do things is a way that works for both sides. There's a very classic example happening right now in, I think it's New York. Very, very famous, wealthy, multi-billionaire real estate tycoon who used to be the 45th president is in a very bizarre, contentious legal situation with a bunch of psychos. And it has been revealed that this fellow, DJT, has participated in a lot of deals. And the deals worked. They became mutually beneficial because both parties worked within parameters and known parameters that are already pre-proven to work but are new for you in your new deal, such that both parties benefit. So in DJT's world, he benefited by being able to borrow astronomical amounts of money to grow his enterprise, and in so doing, paid back astronomical amounts of money plus interest from having a successful enterprise. So the banks are happy, DJT's happy. Deal. You get it? Nobody had to steal anything from anybody. You just had to be really brutally true and honest and direct and open and lay it all out. All right. So let me go back over to the stage here. All right. So, yeah, it's scary. Especially if everything we're talking about here is like new territory. Okay, you're a smart person. I know you can understand this. I know you can reinterpret it to suit your situations in life. All I'm suggesting is going forward, expect the unexpected. Be prepared to go into the world of the unknown, where, by definition, it can be scary. Okay? But there's no other way. If you look very closely at the path, you see, it takes you out of fear and into freedom. But you have to go through this stuff. I believe that your intuition will guide you. I think your loving, angelic, invisible friends will guide you through it if you're willing to accept their guidance, as opposed to overlaying things with your expectations. So that requires enormous humility, surrender, and trust to the unknown. That is very scary, but you can do it. You can do it. No problem. All right, so that is that reading. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed it. Hello, Kaylee. You've become a regular, haven't you? I'm not doing any more readings tonight. That's it, folks. It's been an honor, a privilege, of course. I'm going to shuffle these up a little bit, tuck it all away. Until next time. I have to get prepared. So tomorrow, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to be paying a close attention to what's going on out there in the world to see what's happening as we actually get to the new moon. Remember, when we go through lunar cycles every 28 days or so, you know, there's a full moon and everything manifests, and then it kind of, you know, you see the outcomes, and then it descends towards the new moon, and for like 2 or 3 days before the new moon, things can get a little bit spooky and surreal. Just kind of like a low tide when you look at the ocean, and it kind of goes. So over the next few days, by the middle or end of next week, we're going to start to feel very clear indications of what the new moon Scorpio is going to look like, okay? The Cazimi conjunct my Mars, Saturn, and Pluto. Okay, give me a second here. So, Kaylee, you missed this, but here's the astrodoodle from earlier on. Thank you. All right. So if you want to, Kaylee, you can wind it back. I have to ask you something. Dear Kaylee, I've been doing astrology for a long time. I have a very simplified, westernized approach. What is a Cazimi? I don't know. I'm admitting it live. I don't know. Is it a planet, an asteroid, a comet, a fixed star, something like that? An aspect, some kind of aspect I don't know about. Anyway, I'm very, very curious. All right, well, I'm pretty proud of myself. My voice held out fairly well. It doesn't hurt too much in here. My eyes, my nose, my ears aren't too bad. Well, it's because the moon, Mercury, the sun will be in Scorpio. Yeah. No, it's Mars. Mercury is already in Libra, I believe. Let me see if I got that right. I'm sorry, Mercury is already in Sagittarius. Let me just double check here, okay? Stay there, Kaylee. I want to check a couple of things. Mercury, yeah, Mercury, look right there. Mercury just flipped into Sagittarius. Can you see it? Can you see it right there? We're over here now. It's in like a couple of degrees Sagittarius, okay? Okay, so Kaylee, we've got Sun, Moon, and Mars in Scorpio. There you go. And tomorrow, okay. Oh, I never heard of that. Cazimi is an astrological term that is used to refer to planets that are so close to a conjunction with the sun that they are in the heart of the sun. Ah, I have another word that I don't really use it, but planet. But the sun, because of what it is, still dominates. So it's like the sun burns and melts all the energy of all the other planets in the conjunction or in the stellium, that you can't really see what it is exactly because it's its own thing. I guess you could call it the Cazimi. Oh, that's amazing. When the planet Mercury is midway through its retrograde, it meets the sun in this way. You know the proper spelling. Okay. Well, there you go. Live astrology lessons in real time. The Kazemi. Yeah, I think of it as the sun melting. It just melts everything else until the planets start to separate, you know. It's like sometimes, have you ever seen those charts where the planets are really spread out all over the place? A really good example of that is when you get a Star of David or a grand sextile. There's one for you, Kaylee. Combustion, yeah. The sun melts it. Like right now, sun, moon, and Mars. The sun, in other words, sun, moon, and Mars. Mars, in my language, Mars and moon are combust the sun. It was just a little while ago, Mercury was combust the sun as well. But I never really talk about, I don't really use those words. I just call it a conjunction because they're conjoined. There you go. Thank you so much. Mystery solved. Oh, man. Well, yeah. Well, okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. Wow. Cool. Thanks for sharing, Kaylee. I'm starting to get really blocked up again. I gotta get out of here, get some treatment, do some self-healing. Eventually I'm going to go horizontal, hopefully get some sleep. Sleep has been very difficult when you have these things, these issues. Allergies, who knew? All these chemicals and liquids and pills, it's just weird. Drink lemon water. I'm trying all sorts of things. All right, it's time to wrap up, folks. I wish I could do more readings. I could, but I know if I do, I'm gonna be like this tomorrow. Okie dokie. So let's wrap it up. Let's get out of here. I'm gonna play a little tune, and I'm gonna play a little TarotLumination song called "I Am Guided, I Am Protected." Alrighty. 2, 3, 4.
I am guided, I am protected, 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 I am guided, I am protected. When the light of hope it fades, when all faith is blown away, when all sense of trust goes down, when a smile turns into frown, when it feels there's no relief, nothing in which to believe, desperate in woe and grief, angels come reminding me, I am guided, I am protected, 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 I am guided, I am protected. Angels gather close to me, show me what I cannot see. Angels take me by the hand, lift me when I cannot stand. Angels lead me through the dark, soothe and tend a broken heart, laughing at the circumstance, crying while we sing and dance. I am guided, I am protected, 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 I am protected.